guys, Matt Fisher with a brand new video. As you can tell, there's a dog who wants to play this morning, so please ignore him. Let Enzo have a good time. I wanted to talk about low-carb diets, the pros and the cons, and there's many of each. And I just want to say I like low-carb dieting. It's definitely a tool that can be used to make you lose body fat, but a lot of people go about it the wrong way. There's a lot of misconceptions about it, so I hope I can clear some up. Okay, so low carb. Some of the benefits. Number one, when we talk about bad foods, if you're not eating carbs, you're eliminating 90% of them. You're eliminating 90% of them. Ice cream, pizza, cakes, brownies, cookies, carbs. You're not eating carbs, you're avoiding 90% of the bad stuff. So for someone who doesn't know a lot about nutrition, they make it pretty simple for themselves. They're eating a lot of meat, so it's going to fill you up. And they're avoiding the bad stuff. So in that respect, I love it. If you could take someone who knows very little about nutrition, tell them don't eat carbs, and they can have some success. The other thing I love about low carb is that you can eat a lot of food and feel great and full, but your calories are actually kept pretty low. And that's a key thing. It's not magic. It is still energy in versus energy out. If I'm having these giant chicken cutlets and each one is only 250, 300 calories, I can have a lot of them and feel really good, and my calories are still very low. Whereas you have a giant bowl of pasta, it may not look like a lot of food, but you just have 1,500 calories in one meal. We talk about the science, okay? If you go low carb long enough, which is called the keto diet, you go into what's called ketosis, where your body's actually making ketones from fat. So you're actually just using fat as energy pretty much 24/7. So the science behind it is legit. Bodybuilders will use keto for shows to get down to that ridiculously low body fat percentage. So even professionals use it. There are some drawbacks though that I want you to be aware of. First of all, even if you're doing no carb or low carb, it's still energy in versus energy out. So you're having a lot of fattening foods, which is allowed on the keto diet, your calories might still be too high. And I was one of those people that made that mistake. When I first read about this years ago, I'm like, oh, I can have sausage all day, and pork sausage I love. Well, each link is like 200 calories. And pork sausage I love. Well, each link is like 200 calories. So I have 5 or 6 links in a meal. I just had a 1,200 calorie meal. Good luck losing weight that way. So your calories still have to be at an acceptable level. So I hear about people snacking on cheese and stuff. Well, each slice of cheese is gonna be 100 calories. You're snacking on it, what do you have, 7 or 8? That's 800 calories right there. Too much. Okay, the other thing is, you want to lose body fat. Keto can mess with your mind with the scale, because when you don't have carbs, you lose water weight. So the scale says you're lower, but you haven't really lost body fat, it's just water. Then when you have carbs again, the water comes back in and you absorb it. So the scale goes up, but you haven't gained fat. So for people who don't understand this concept, keto can really, or low carb can mess with your mind. And they don't understand that, oh my God, I put on 5 pounds in one day. No, it's not possible. It's just water, okay? So, there's a lot of good things, but there's some drawbacks, and here's the big one. When you do keto or low carb for an extended period of time, your metabolism becomes very sluggish. That's why professionals who use it, they have what's called a refeed day, where on that day, they keep their protein high, they keep their carbs up, but they drop the fat. So they do that to reignite the metabolism. I just got done reading a story from one of my personal trainers, one of the guys I read a lot of his literature, and he had a client, and his previous trainer had this guy on low carb for months. So the first thing he did, he made him work out, then he took him to a buffet because he wanted to restart the metabolism. So the way refeeds work can be very confusing and very tricky. Some people do it every 3 days, once a week, one meal, one giant carb meal. I don't know which way is the best. Every guy has their own way, but I would not suggest going low carbs for weeks at a time. it will start to wear your metabolism and you won't get the results you're looking for. The other thing that people go low carb for a while, you start to fantasize about carbohydrates. It is a very restrictive diet. And if you go out to dinner with some friends, most restaurants have a low carb menu, but you're seeing all these foods you might want, and even healthy foods. Like for me, fruit, I love fruit, not on a low carb diet. So a lot of people end up binging, and that can kill your progress. And it's not uncommon to see someone go low carb for a long period of time, lose a lot of body fat, but then put it all back on plus because they've been restricted for so long that food becomes like a fantasy and they go crazy. So my advice for low carb, it works, but I would just do it for a short period of time, which is kind of called carb cycling, which I'll do a whole other video on. But if you are doing like a big keto thing, throw the refeed days in there. The scale may mess with your mind, but you'll be better long term. So you can use low carb to lose a lot of body fat. Just make sure your calories are in check. You still want to keep the fat relatively low. Yes, your fat can go a little bit higher because you're not having carbs, but keep it in check. If you want to have some chicken breast, put some cheese on it, you can get away with that because you're replacing those calories and carbs with a little fat, and it's okay. But don't go crazy. Don't be like me having like 6 pork sausages and thinking you're doing your body good. You're not. So again, even with this diet, you still need to be physically active and expending